Why can't you be more like your sister? Those words echoed through my childhood like a broken record. No matter what I did, no matter how hard I tried, my parents always found a way to remind me that my sister was the standard I could never reach. When she brought home an A on her report card, my parents practically threw her a parade. When I brought home the same grade, I got a shrug and a reminder. Well, your sister already did that. If she scored a goal at her soccer game, the whole family went out for ice cream to celebrate. When I scored, I got a pat on the shoulder and a casual, "That's nice, dear." Birthdays told the same story. My sister had themed parties, custom cakes, and all her friends invited. Me? I was lucky if someone remembered to buy candles. Once I got a single cupcake from the grocery store with a paper napkin as my party. It didn't just sting, it left scars. Imagine being a kid and realizing that no matter what you do, your parents' eyes will always shine brighter for someone else. I grew up in the shadow of my sister's spotlight, invisible in my own home. The comparisons came daily. If she dressed up, I was told to learn from her style. If she spoke confidently, I was told to talk like her. If she got praised for something small, it was as if she'd solved world hunger. Me? I was the afterthought. But what my parents didn't realize was this. Every comparison was planting a seed inside me, a fire, a determination. I wasn't going to keep competing in a race that was rigged against me. I was going to build my own track. I still remember the night it all changed. I was 16, sitting at the dinner table, proud of myself for being chosen for a student leadership program. I started to share my news. But before I could even finish my sentence, my mom cut me off. Not now. Let your sister talk about her honors project. My words died in my throat. I sat there, staring at my plate, holding back tears. That night in bed, I promised myself something. One day I wouldn't be ignored. One day I'd be undeniable. And that day, it came sooner than they ever expected. College was the great divide between us. My parents covered every penny of my sister's tuition, her books, her dorm fees, everything. Me, they told me to figure it out. So I did. I worked late nights at a diner, picked up shifts at the campus bookstore, and stretched every dollar until it screamed. While my sister posted pictures from sorority parties, I was studying under flickering fluorescent lights, surrounded by half-empty coffee cups. It wasn't fair. But instead of letting it break me, I let it shape me. I became disciplined, resilient. While my sister floated through school on a safety net of support, I built strength on my own. When she graduated, she stepped into a cushy job at a family friend's company. She bragged about her salary, her office, her benefits. My parents beamed with pride. Meanwhile, I graduated with student loans and no connections. But I also had something my sister didn't. Hunger. I took an unpaid internship in finance, worked weekends at a grocery store, and taught myself about investing and business after hours. My parents called it a phase. They told me I'd eventually settle down with a real job. But I kept building. Within 2 years, I launched a small online consulting business. At first, it barely paid rent. I worked out of coffee shops, using a laptop that overheated if I opened too many tabs. My parents dismissed it as a little side project. But I knew better. Slowly, the work paid off. Clients grew. Money started coming in. I reinvested every penny. While my sister leaned on our parents after losing her first job, I was creating something real, something mine. By the time I was 25, I had bought my first house, paid for in full. I drove a car I didn't owe a dime on. My business wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. And all the while, my parents had no idea. Because I didn't need their approval anymore. I was waiting for the perfect moment. And oh, that moment was coming. It happened one Sunday evening at a family dinner. My mom had set out the fancy dishes because my sister was bringing home a new boyfriend. The table was full of laughter, small talk, and of course, stories about my sister. Halfway through the meal, my mom turned to me with a smirk. So, are you still doing that little online thing? You know, until you get a real job? The table chuckled. My sister rolled her eyes. I smiled, calm, confident. Actually, I said, that little online thing paid off the mortgage on this house. You could hear a pin drop. At first, they thought I was joking, but then I pulled out the paperwork. The truth was, my parents had been months behind on payments. They were weeks away from losing the house. Quietly, without saying a word, I had paid it off. My dad's fork froze midair. My mom's jaw dropped. My sister's face turned pale. The golden child who could do no wrong suddenly looked small. And me? The forgotten daughter? The one they never noticed? I was the reason they still had a roof over their heads. For once, they couldn't compare me to my sister. For once, there was no contest. The silence around that dinner table was everything I had waited for. My parents scrambled for words. My sister sat in disbelief, her perfect image shattering with every second. My mom whispered, "We're proud of you." My dad nodded, eyes glassy. And my sister? She couldn't even look at me. But here's the truth. I didn't need their pride anymore. I had already proven everything to myself. Their words were just confirmation of what I already knew. I had built a life on my own terms. That night, I realized something powerful. The sweetest revenge isn't yelling or proving them wrong in the moment. It's living so well, so powerfully, that even the people who doubted you can't deny it anymore. My parents had spent years comparing me to my sister. But in the end, it was me they needed most. And my sister? She wasn't the golden child anymore. So if you've ever been in someone's shadow, overlooked, compared, ignored, don't give up. Don't waste your energy begging to be seen. Instead, build in silence. Let your success speak for itself. Because one day, the same people who dismissed you will have no choice but to recognize you. And trust me, that day is worth every moment of being underestimated.